Just a final one, sorry. Of course, there are a lot of problems in today's performance, but also Onana had a really bad game today. To which extent do you think you guys have a goalkeeping issue and he has an issue?
Yes, it's not, when you play, with all due respect, when you play against a fourth division team, it's not the goalkeeper, it's everything. It's the environment, it's the way we face the competition. We know that we are in the moment, everything. People will pay attention to everything. It's going to be massive, every detail. And we show that performance today. So my players spoke for me really loud.
What's the crack? Welcome back to the Irish Voice podcast, the first one of the new season. Loads to catch up on tonight, from the positivities of Arsenal to the mental breakdown and retardation of the Fulham game. I don't know what happened. Manchester United, they just seemed devoid of mental thought in that game, as if everything from Arsenal had gone. So we're going to talk about the games, have a good catch up, and then we're going to talk about what the end of this transfer window looks like, guys. And then we're going to have just a final run through of people's thoughts and feelings now that we're 2 games in on this podcast. So Mum, we'll start with you. The Arsenal game, what did you think?
I was impressed with United, the way they played. I thought they were unlucky not to get a result in that Arsenal game. Binder being Binder, it's just
vampire.
We need to get that goalkeeping situation sorted out. Jesus, he gives me heart attacks, and so does Onana. But no, I was. And the first half of the Fulham game, yeah. Second half, no.
Would you say I'd say the first 15 minutes?
No, I'd say the first half, I was.
No,
I was going, I'm like in the middle. I would say the first half an hour, and then it just went out of ideas.
I agree with you there. And then it just reverted back to type. That
I think
is a real big concern.
It is.
Huge concern. Mm-hmm. And I know we'll get to it, further on into the podcast about who should stay, who should go, stuff like that. But we're going to get hammered every time that Bruno Fernandez plays as an 8. Hammered. The only position that Bruno Fernandez can play is a 10. And if he can't get picked over in Bruno or Cunha, then don't pick him at all. But unfortunately, Amorim is like Louis van Gaal. My captain should always play, to the detriment of the team again. So that's my thoughts.
I think you were full of positivity, weren't you, Kieran? You were full of buzz post the Arsenal game.
We all were.
You thought this was a here we go moment for United. What do you think? First off, what was your thoughts on the Arsenal game? What did you like about United? What did you not like about United? And then how has that changed now that you've seen the Fulham performance?
I think I was just excited to get going again, just to see the guys play football again. Just for all the hype and the buzz and the signs we've made up front. And it was actually, Arsenal's a tough game to have first, but you think of the home crowd, we're still looking forward to it. And I was blown away with the performance. I was not expecting that at all, compared to what we had to sit and watch last season. And as Jacqueline said, I think, we were hard done by not to get it at least a point. But it comes to the same annoyance we all had last season, not putting the ball in the back of the net, taking our chances. And it's such a shitty goal to get beat by after how well that's just it. We dominated. I think, in my opinion, we dominated Arsenal. Now you can say we discussed this very before. Say last season. Say we got a draw against Arsenal last season. I think Ruben did slightly well against the bigger teams. The guys were up for it, but it was like we were defending for our lives and we were trying to nick a chance in the break, grabbing a goal, smash and grab. But the first game, I think, there gave me a lot of positivity and hope. And then that second hour of the game in Fulham just brought me crashing back down. And I just you don't know what you're going to get now. Is it, it's hard to put your finger on it, and it's disappointing. And I think I think a lot of it comes down to that midfield. As we all say, it's a big gap, and the opposition know about it. We can see it. The opposition managers and teams can see it, and it needs to be addressed.
Yeah. Mum, you sort of quote with me that Alex Iwobi said that Fulham were aware of the frailties of Manchester United midfield and wanted to get in behind them.
Yeah.
That's damning, isn't
about
it?
their vulnerability on crosses and corners.
Yeah.
Because
So-
two goalkeepers are two yokes.
Yeah. To me, absolutely nothing has changed from last year. There's a shiny new package sitting up front in a very unfunctional team. There's a team that doesn't look like it can defend set pieces or crosses into the box. It's a team that looks like it is absolutely nothing in midfield. And I have to point my finger at our manager and our board and think you're just not good enough. And I know that's harsh after 2 games, but I did say that the Arsenal game will lose any credibility if Manchester United cannot go out and beat Fulham. And we didn't look like beating Fulham for me. We can talk about dominating possession and the stats, but the biggest chance came from Bayender's long hopeful ball up to Cunha when he took it down and almost put it past Leno. For an attack that cost £200 million and Bruno Fernandez, Mason Mount, Cunha, Mbeumo all on the pitch, to not be creating chances is criminal. Benjamin Sesko, why is he not on the football pitch? And because you've alienated Rasmus Højlund, you now don't have a target man without the unfit Benjamin Sesko. It's just mistake after mistake, poor decision after poor decision. And I honestly think, guys, that Ruben Amorim will be out the door by January. I think he has set himself up to fail because I do not think that United are going to get a midfielder. They reacted to the Bayender mistake in the Arsenal game by going and signing Lamans. Fair play. But there was no goalkeeping errors in the Fulham game. You were just not good enough.
No.
So I said this before we started, and you guys told me that the £200 million attack would make the difference. That is enough to propel yourself up the table. Do you truly believe that now?
Well, 2 games in, as you said.
Can't score goals, man. We cannot score goals.
Yeah, but see, that's our problem. And that's what, but I think it is too early to judge that front three. It's our biggest deficit in that team is the midfield. And you need to feed the front three. And the other thing is that I'm going to point out, and you'll probably disagree with me, the two of you, Ahmad does not suit that wing back role.
No.
But where do you stop here, Mum?
Alexander Arnold, he's brilliant to get, but Ahmad is not putting crosses in here.
But I'm sorry to interrupt here, Mum. That's not fair because you told me the £200 million attack would fix Manchester United's issues. Now you're saying the £200 million attack has come in, but it's the midfield that's the issue. Also, the wing back is an issue. We did this under Ten Hag and we played the transfer merry-go-round where it's, if he had the perfect right back, then it would be fine. And the perfect midfield. At what point do you stop and turn around and say, okay, what is it now? What do you want? You wanted a new attacker and a striker, you got it. Can't score goals, it's the midfield's fault. Does it not fit? And I know I'm having a go at you here, but you're very indicative of a lot of Man United fans now. Because it's just the same crap. It's like Erik Ten Hag would win the league if he got X player and X player. Amorim could win the league if he got X player and X player. They're just not good enough for me. Amorim's 4-3-4-3 doesn't work. It doesn't work in the Premier League. It's too slow.
Personally has. I think that I'll stick by my conviction, and I think that those 3 up front will make a difference. They're just not firing yet, right? But if they're 5 games into the season and that's the same pattern of play, I will worry.
Yeah, okay, I can concede that. It's going to be interesting. But the one word I used to describe Manchester United against Arsenal was hopeful, right? Because there was nothing convincing about it. They still lost, right? They still created minimal out-and-out goal-scoring opportunities and conceded a few to Arsenal. But they were better and they dominated the stats because they deserved it and they were full of vigour and enthusiasm. The Fulham game I watched all 90 minutes of on my holidays and it was boring. It was boring. It was as boring as it was last year. They couldn't create an attack. They let Fulham get back into shape. They were slow, indecisive. There just was nothing there, Mum, as a collective unit that I looked at and went, maybe there are the signs that the Arsenal game or the constant is the consistent, but they get up for Arsenal and crash back down to their normal levels for Fulham. And I think we've seen the normal United. Maybe you will disagree with me. I think we've seen the normal United play Fulham. And that normal United is not good enough, no?
No, it's not.
It's not. It's not good enough. And I know we all have our own opinions and, we're trying to give a clean slate from last season. But like one of my thoughts was, and correct me if I'm wrong, the hammering we took last season, right? Do you think that squad that, we got a new 50 million training ground complex, which we badly needed, signings in the door, trying to get the good vibes, great place, get rid of the toxic atmosphere in the club, to build a base, say that, the confidence from last season, the confidence is still bound to be on the floor in that squad. Agreed? To a certain extent.
Not as much as last year, Kieran. They've had a full pre-season with each other.
But to counter that, is it not the manager's job to get the confidence off the floor pre-season and go again?
Yeah, that's where I'm getting with this. It's like the Arsenal game, full of vigor, good performance, dominating the stats, whatever you want to call it, Rory, right? And then starting into the Fulham game, felt hard done by, aggrieved by that result at Arsenal. The first 20 minutes, half an hour, I was impressed with that. It looked just a repeat from the Arsenal game, right? Then things go wrong. Penalty gets missed, and Cunha's big chance wasted, right? And they're thinking, it's just not going to happen. Heads drop, confidence goes. Now, I don't agree with the substitutions. That's one thing I will criticise Ruben Amorim for. And I'm all about backing the manager. We all said, give him the Christmas, let him get his team in. I think he needs a few windows, but the substitutions I don't agree with. Defensive substitutions, when you're chasing the game, you may as well throw your most attacking players on. But I just think that kind of just a thought I had after watching them. I was bitterly disappointed and I was raging. But that was just one of my thoughts after the game, thinking, is this nothing's gonna go right for us this season? We didn't get the result against Arsenal. We're started with flying at the blocks, and we missed a penalty, missed a big chance or two, and it's just not gonna happen. Here we go again. And we all seen how the game ended. Yeah, and they're human. I know you're gonna turn around and say something, but you are. But you say there things in other podcasts as well, saying all the guys are human, and about the atmosphere and the vibe, and then just say, "Oh no, we're shit."
No, I don't think we're shit. I think he got it wrong in the transfers, and I feel vindicated what I said all summer. Benjamin Sesko felt like a luxury signing to me when he had Rasmus Højlund. And now he has alienated Rasmus Højlund, and he doesn't trust Joshua Zirkzee, and he had felt that he had to go up front again with Mason Mount, Cunha and Mbeumo. And for the second game in a row, they created very little and scored nothing. You know what I mean? So then you look at it and you're sitting thinking, right, okay, that looks weak. What could have fixed that? Probably not signing Benjamin Sesko this summer and signing the midfielder. I always compare it to if you're starting off to build something, right, you want the core to be the heart and soul of everything. It's like you don't start bodybuilding by exercising your calves and your forearms. You build your core first, and that's what gives you the strength to move on. We don't have a midfield here, and we have a very weak defence, and we have a very fragile goalkeeper. The last thing United needed from me was a £70 million goalkeeper or goal scorer. I think they could have makeshifted other players in there, and it could have worked, which is contradictory because we're looking at those three ways playing, and they can't score goals. But is Benjamin Sesko going to fix that? No. Because United are not going to create the opportunities that Benjamin Sesko needs to score. And that comes from a good midfield, good wing backs, and having a balance in the team. Not from spending £200 million on 2 tens of a striker to just ram 3 new players in there in the side. That was the biggest weakness, boys. This will fix it. It's not going to work here.
No. We're sitting there, how many tens do we have in that team?
Oh God, I talked about this earlier in work. So you know what I mean? Ahmed Diallo and Bruno Fernandez are 10s. They're playing right wing back and centre midfield. Mason Mount dropped into midfield in that game to the cost of Kobe Minu for whatever reason that Ruben Amorim has. So that leads me to believe that, okay, he doesn't see Manu as a centre midfielder. He sees him as a 10. So Manu, Bruno, Ahmed, Mason Mount, Matheus Cunha, Bryan Mbeumo, and we still have a bit of Garnacho, Sancho, Anthony, who potentially come in. So 8, 10, 9, sorry. 9. Yeah. There are 9 10s in the current Manchester United squad. It's insane.
It's mind-boggling.
And there's arguably no one. I think we said this the podcast we were on last. There is no one that can play centre midfield in his system. It doesn't suit.
No. There's nobody. There's no midfield 1 or even 2 that would suit Amorim's the way he wants to play. And then them 2.
They needed to sign 2 midfielders. They haven't before the end of this window. If I want to have any faith in Manchester United's season, they must sign a centre midfielder. You can suffer Casemiro in certain games and Bruno Fernandez in certain games as long as they're not partnering each other. As long as they're partnering somebody who is box to box with energy. Ederson from Atalanta, Baleba from Brighton. All names we were linked up all summer. Nothing concrete has come with it. It's not good enough. They've left the squad so weak and so light that it could be another season of scrambling and fighting to even be in the question for Europe by January.
Yeah. But do you think though, like, you know, if we everybody can see that in midfield, everyone's pointing it out. Do you not think any of us know about it?
So I think we were here under Eric Ten Hag and I said the same thing, right? If you are the manager of Manchester United, okay, you have your vision, your idea for how it was going to work, right? And I think when he went into pre-season, now I don't know if this is true or not, Ruben Amorim believed that he could make a midfield of Casemiro, Ugarte, Bruno Fernandez, that he could find a way to find a partnership there, holding midfielder, and Bruno Fernandez, who he stopped going to Saudi and apparently had the conversations with, and he thought that would work in midfield. And that is his biggest mistake since he's come to Manchester United, is that self-belief in himself that he would get that right. And I think when he was scratching his head and stuff at the weekend, and he looked distraught at one point on that bench. He looked as if everything was beating him, as if it all was getting too much for him. And I think he must have been feeling that at that point. God, I have really made a mistake here in retaining Bruno Fernandez because he's a 10, but I've bought 2 10s, kept Bruno, and he can't play midfield. I have created a huge mistake for myself. And like Louis van Gaal, if I eat my mistake and have to eat my words and drop Bruno Fernandez or play him as a 10, then I'm letting the world know that I didn't know what I was doing. And I think he's stuck there at the minute, and it must really hurt.
Oh yeah, well he's proud. He's proud of himself. You know, he's honest. It's one of the things I like about him. He's not afraid. He's not afraid to come out and say how it is. And I think now I think he is regretting not taking the 100 million and investing out there, especially when the asking price for Baleba. I would have got Baleba in that money.
Mum, he's the worst coach I've seen United have so far. So far in his tenure, it's the worst I've seen Manchester United. So do you think that he can fix that? Now, not do you think, not do you want, not do you hope, do you actually think?
Oh, just bear with me, right? I really am, right?
Context.
Context. Sources say, word on the
street,
that the Baleba deal is not over, that there's another offer in for Bruno Fernandez from another Saudi club that have met with his representatives, that the talk is, and this is Laurie Whitwell, that if Bruno Fernandez doesn't go this summer, he definitely will go next summer.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but here's my absolute hopium, right? We're waiting to get right. Bruno Fernandez will go this summer.
Sure.
But it doesn't have to be, because the Saudi transfer is a week after us. So if I am hoping for a midfielder in, or we're going to have a very, very frustrating season.
You're not getting them. I can almost promise you.
Look,
if Kieran owes me £5 for Baleba, I will bet you £5 that Manchester United will not sign any midfielder before the transfer window.
Done.
They're not getting one. This Bruno Fernandez, correct? So he's going to go back on his word, eat his words, and his manager's going to eat his words, and they're going to throw their hands up and go, do you remember that time earlier in the summer when I said I wanted to stay and play European football? I lied. Now I'm going to Saudi, guys, but just a different team, and it's come later in the window because, do you know what? I don't want to play Premier League football anymore. That is the biggest amount of horse shit Laurie Whitwell has ever put.
I'm going to tell you something now, Laurie, because after the Fulham match, even after the Arsenal match, half the Man United fan base will pack his bags for him.
Why are you going to learn that doesn't matter?
And that centre midfield part. that if you're going to play Bruno Fernandez, he has to be one of the 10s.
You're talking about fan opinion. No one at Manchester United gives one fuck what you think. I can promise you that. And that goes to everyone listening to this podcast. They do not care what you say on forums. They do not give a shit what we say on podcasts. They don't care that we know Bruno Fernandes was a mistake. You cannot be led by that. Bruno Fernandes will be a Man United player until at least next summer. Carlos Baleba will be a Brighton player until at least next summer. And all that hopium that you're hoping for in there does not exist. Either he learns to fix the squad he has, or he falls on his face. Laurie Whitwell knows that's a lie. It's just very easy to say. It's like
very easy.
That's my hope.
Kobe Manu didn't get picked in the Fulham game. Kobe Manu's looking away. 1 + 1 = 2. Mum, that's ridiculous. It is honestly ridiculous that you would truly believe that Bruno Fernandes won't be a Man United player.
No, I'm not. I'm truly praying.
Not believe, she hopes.
That's okay.
It's not her belief, it's her hope.
But you must know that's horseshit. You must know.
Well, yes, logically.
Logically not going to happen.
I'm not the word of logic now. I'm hoping that something happens before the end of the winter.
Anything.
Because I cannot go through another season like last season.
And I get that. That's for that. I am in that camp too. I am really in that camp. But I'm also a firm believer that this club will let me down in that respect because it's what they do. I think they cast their die when they went for their new shiny £200 million attack. I do think they have been scuppered a wee bit by the fact that we cannot get player sales done. That we are going to have to do exactly what we said we wouldn't do and scrimp now at the end of the window to try and get players out through the door. We didn't want to do it. It's going to become a reality. Fair enough. There is no parameters where I see Bruno Fernandes leaving. I think that is a 0% chance in my head being done. Therefore, do not believe United are signing a midfielder because they can't. They've overspent on PSR and earned no money back.
Yeah, well, that's true. And I think you're right. I think they thought that some of that bomb squad would be out the door by now. But I also heard reports that Jadon Sancho now wants to go to America and take his career to America because he's got out with some girl from America.
He grates me.
Can't make it up.
When I hear his name, it's a physical.
I know, but
I hear him.
No, and Malacia. Is there any reports at all on Malacia?
They're not wanted players, unfortunately.
Do you want to be annoyed at Jadon Sancho more?
Yeah, you look at Chelsea, right? Chelsea have recouped £200 million in player sales because Chelsea are the club world champions, right? Chelsea finished the season on a high. They got themselves in Champions League. It makes their players, even the players that you would second guess, it makes them attractive. It makes you think that you could have a go on one because one of those boys was around a Conference League winning team and one of those boys was around a Club World Cup winning team. They must have something about them. When you look at Man United players, you're talking about the 15th best team in England, earning 5th, 4th best team in England wages, and we're surprised that they're going out the door. I knew this would happen. Nobody wants our lads. Nobody.
It's not only that worry. It's that other teams and other football directors know that we want those players sold. They're not even part of the squad.
But how are they going to, Mum? They're going to Real. Anthony's going to Real.
I agree with you. They're surplus to requirements at Man United, and teams like Betis and whoever want them for pittance.
And why wouldn't you? When you are turning around to a Manchester United and saying he can come and play for Real Betis, but we can't pay that money, and United are saying your counter to that in any business is right. Well, we could sell him to X. Who are you selling Anthony to? Who would Betis actually take you serious with if you turn around and said, well, look, such and such is in for him, so you're going to have to cough up the money. Betis have let this sit until 3 days before the end of the window because they know that they were able to stir down Manchester United without blinking and thinking, where is he going to go always? You can't sell him anywhere else. We'll take him because we were brave enough to take him on loan and he played well. But unless you get a big offer from Saudi, which he doesn't want, Anthony's going to be our player in September. So the only person you're hurting here by not accepting terms is yourselves. And I think Jadon Sancho is unique in that Jadon Sancho is a 300 grand a week player. Very hard for United to do. Very, very hard for United to do. Højlund, it's come late in the window. We've turned around and told Højlund, we actually don't want you anymore, we want Sesko. I'm sure Højlund's laughing because Sesko hasn't taken the field the past 2 games. It's not great. It's poor. Really poor.
Bad luck.
They haven't handled this transfer window well at all. They got 3 lads in who were meant to be luxury players in a big rebuild, and we're 2 games into it, and there are glaring deficiencies in the Manchester United lineup. They could have been fixed. And what midfielder, if the Baleba merry-go-round that you believe could happen comes in, tell me which midfielder you think Man United sign this
I
late.
don't know anybody.
But give me a name. You're the Lord of fake news.
Throw names out there. Adam Wharton.
Crystal Palace just sold Eberichietze. Would they sell Alan Morton? They're prepping for Mark Gahey going.
Don't know. Big enough offer coming in.
Big enough price.
Fernandez.
So apparently they're looking 70 million for him.
From
70.
Yeah.
where is the big enough offer coming from Manchester United? Where there isn't the funds?
When we said Bruno Fernandez decided.
See, it falls on its face when you stand and think it out logically. It does. Laman's come in there for 15 million, I think. I think Laman still needs to be offset by player sales. Where are they pulling 70 to
It's not
100?
done yet.
Not done.
Is he not?
done.
It's not the 15 million on top of the PSR head.
Yeah,
So
that's what I mean. We
We
need
don't
to
have-
rush out. Or I suppose if Rasmus Hoyland makes up his mind, and they're saying that it's nearly done, that you can get Lemons in. But he's not done yet, he's still waiting.
well, I mean, there we go. Mum. That I think we can stop the conversation there, because if you're telling me that they need to wait for Hoyland out for Laman's in,
This is been reported, yes.
but still we're going to spend 70 to 100 million pound on a midfielder. It doesn't make sense, guys. But anyway, I don't want to derail the whole conversation talking about Manchester United's deficiencies. In now to where you think this club could go in the next few weeks. You both sound extremely hopeful that United are signing a midfielder.
Nope.
No, only me. I'm the only one.
So
I'm
where are
not.
we going now?
Here's on your side of the pessimistic barrier.
I don't think it's. You can't call it
A
pessimism.
realistic barrier.
Realistic. I like that. And not just because I'm in it, but like I said, Mum, as soon as you start throwing names and you start thinking logically and you don't jump on the bandwagon and stuff, if there's serious holes. Bruno Fernandez decided, why did he turn it out early in the window? Did he just come out of the Fulham game and decide, oh God, I hit the fan for him there, and you know all the boys were saying that I should be out of this team, so do you know what, I'll pack up and go to Saudi now. Nonsense, guys. Nonsense.
It's more likely that we like that the Farron squad that now what it was on Sky Sports there before we came on there. 40 million for Garnacho, Chelsea.
Okay.
We're gonna accept something around for 40 million for Garnacho. Bettis, who we just mentioned there, are discussing a permanent deal, not a loan with United. So they might get recruit. I don't know what kind of fees. Not no fee mentioned. So take that with a pinch of salt. And Hoyland has his head set at Napoli, so that'll be a 6 million loan fee and an obligation of 40 next summer.
But yeah, that is good. I'm happy with that. But they have to get these deals done in the next, count from the 20th, so 3 days? They get it done by Monday, don't they?
Monday afternoon. Monday afternoon.
They've Grimsby tonight. They haven't concretely bid for any midfielder yet, right? We're seeing bids being rejected now all across the Premier League, including Wolves. Wolves are a brilliant standard. Wolves got the money in for Cunha, right? And now have the bidding power to turn around to a Newcastle and say, nope.
Strong Larson.
65-70 for Strand Larson, or you cannot have him. You've left it too late. I don't think we're getting another player, guys. I think Lamans will be the last. I think if we had been in negotiations concretely for a midfielder with something there as in a bid, possibly. But Brighton will do the same. We'll throw 100 million at Leba and Brighton will turn around and say, it's too late, guys. We can't go and buy another midfielder this late in the window. You left it too late. You should have realised you had a midfield problem. So, my question to you guys, and I'm going to shut up now. How does Ruben Amorim fix Man United with the current squad? What does he do?
What do we think he should do, or what will he do?
What should he do? What will he do? I'm open to suggestions. I'm just interested to hear the conversation.
What do you think, Jacqueline?
I think the logical thing to do is to move Bruno Fernandez out of midfield. If he wants to play him as a number 10 and if he wants to keep him on the pitch because he's captain, he's going to have to drop either one of Cunha or and Bruno or Sesko and those four around. But he needs somebody sat beside. Bruno Fernandez is not a number 8. And that would fix that. Now, who plays in midfield? Whether it be Manu, Ugarte, I don't know. I don't know how you would fix that, but get Bruno Fernandez out of it. That's one of the things I would do.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask short questions. Do you think that he thinks Kobe Manu is a centre midfielder or a 10?
Well, he's a 10.
So you think he's a 10, right? So the Kobe Manu for Bruno Fernandez won't work. We're agreed, yeah?
No, that's true. Yeah.
You think Manuel Ugarte can play midfield starting for Manchester United? Based on what you've seen in the last 2 games? I thought he was awful again.
More so over Bruno Fernandez.
Ugarte? Oh, God.
No, I think Ugarte has had 3 or 4 shockers in a row. Ugarte has been shocking since pre-season.
Brutal. I'm excited to see if he plays against Grimsby and what way he plays. Because he literally looks like he has forgotten over the summer how to play football.
Yeah, he looks shot.
Yeah.
Confidence looks shot.
And I know where you're coming from. You know, it's like, right, well, we go back to last year. If we can't find a functional midfield, if we can't find a good midfield, find a functional midfield. Ugarte plays with Casemiro, at least shore up a wee bit.
Yeah.
But then again, how do you feed your £200 million attack then?
I think, if I'm wrong, if he won't do it, but the 2 in midfield, I think, isn't going to work with the players that we have. I think a 3 in midfield would be more, but it's not going to happen.
Are you calling on Ruben Amorim to change his formation there, Kieran? Is that what I'm hearing?
Not going to happen.
With the players we have, Rory, yes.
I was so short of saying it, and I'm glad one of you brought it up. I wholeheartedly agree. The 3-4-3.
Yay! Rory agrees with one of us.
Yeah. It does not work for the players.
Hold on. Let me take a victory sip.
I agree with you, bro. I agree. He's shoehorning players into positions, and that's our biggest issue.
Yeah. Square pegs round holes.
Yeah, It doesn't work.
You know, I think
sacrifice the defender, go for 2 at the back, play 2 wing backs, have Ugarte play holding midfield with Casemiro, have Bruno Fernandez play behind Benjamin Sesko, and have him flanked by Matheus Cunha and Mbeumo. It's not rocket science, guys.
Nope.
Not going to happen.
Well, Mum, if it doesn't happen, then I think Manchester United will turn towards a manager that favours the 4-3-3 or the 4-2-3-1, because I think our squad is really built for that now, and I don't think Man United are signing players for Ruben Amorim. I think
for Manchester, I was just going to agree, Rory. I see it. Yeah, players that'll work with any team, any manager.
Bruno Fernandez, we all see him as a 10. Cunha can play on the left wing. If Bruno Fernandez was to leave, it's a very easy transition to go and find a left winger and move Cunha into the 10. And that way Cunha gets more access to goal scoring as he wants, and Mbeumo can play off him and another player. I've seen the 3 signings, and I'm so glad you brought it up, Kieran. There's a niggle in me thinking Wilcox is being very cute here. These are players being bought, hoping that Amorim gets it right. I don't think they're against him. They hope that he gets it right. But there's definitely succession planning going on. You know, and
we all say time. Like, managers do need time, and there's no point. There's 2 games as well, and throwing in throwing the manager into the situation in the middle of the last season with a brutal squad. It is going to take time and a few windows. But if after another window, a bad run of results continuing the same way as last season, it could be cheerio.
Yeah,
could be. I like Ruben, but yeah.
If they draw with Burnley, guys, I want him sacked.
Yeah. It's not 2 games. It's not
be newly promoted Burnley after 29 games of sheer and utter nonsense from this manager, right? Who I really, really like. I think he speaks brilliantly. I think he definitely says all the right things. He's got discipline and stuff. But if he cannot beat Burnley when he really has to, when his neck's on the line, he's fighting for it. Sack.
Has to be 4 or 5-0. Like,
if you got past,
I think Graham Potter would go before Ruben Amorim.
Oh, That's who Ashworth wanted as Man United manager.
Yeah,
So
What's up,
we want it.
No, I agree.
good job. Under Eric Ten Hag, it got that low. I thought, just give it to Potter. You know, he's got a personal relationship with Ashworth. Just give it to Potter. But I mean, what has Ruben Amorim done that Graham Potter? You know, how is one better than the other? Has Graham Potter not achieved more points in his tenure at West Ham than Amorim has at Man United? Did I read that? I think a Leeds fan of mine who's an
Most managers have achieved more points.
Yeah, I think in the 29 games since he's come in, they're either even or they're more. Graham Potter has more points than him.
Only 7 wins.
Calamitous. So yeah, that's interesting. So change the formation, Kieran. Would you agree with that, Mum? Do you think a change in formation would benefit him? It's never happened, by the way.
No, I
don't
don't.
say it most definitely would. But the personnel they have at the club now, yeah, definitely agree with you. But it's not going to happen.
No, but I don't think change.
I've said it numerous times.
Yeah, but I don't think guys like slightly tweak the formation. It doesn't mean he has to. The manager has to abandon the way he wants to play football. I don't think. His principles and his style, a bit, but not an extra body midfield.
I mean, he went through the entire summer, Kieran. We all seen the training video. He was trying to drill the 3-4-3 in. Again, I just think to the human element of it, what does it say to players in the world if he spent all that time doing that, buying the front three to play that, and he has to tweak it and change it? I think it's more realistic that he leaves or gets sacked before we see a changed system of Man United. And I think even in the League Cup in the Grimsby game, I'm still expecting Manchester United to go out and play a 3-4-3. And I tell you, my prediction now, he's going to do it Ten Hag tonight. It's going to be a very strong team.
Oh, I think he made a lot of changes.
Think so?
Because we play Saturday, don't we?
Saturday at 3:00.
Yeah.
Do you think Manu plays?
Yeah. Sesko plays.
Well, no, there's an interesting thing
I don't think he plays.
Professor Romano said in his podcast. I don't know whether you've seen it or not.
No.
I didn't see it, I read it. That there's going to be a meeting. Now, apparently it's unprecedented tonight between Manu, the manager, and his representatives. That Manu is going to go and, in other words, get verification of Ruben Amorim, where he stands. Is he part of his plans? And if not, then he's going.
I read this. Sorry, I didn't know there was a meeting and it was all this convoluted talk.
Yes.
But apparently, Kobe Manu has requested guidance on where his future at Manchester United lies. And Ruben Amorim is set to tell him that he cannot guarantee him a first team place, which means that Kobe Manu is going to be kind of the biggest story of the end of the transfer window, that Manu is transitioning out of United. Apparently, he was told that he had to develop as a younger player and that, you know, his attributes weren't quite there to play the role that Ruben Amorim sees him, but he's very, very unhappy at what he's seeing on the pitch. He doesn't believe he should be behind Casemiro and Bruno Fernandez to play in midfield. So if that is the case and he adopts that attitude and he brings that to the supposed meeting, he's out the door, guys.
No, I can see it, yeah, because, I mean, all the young players, all players now want to be playing before this World Cup next year. They have to be playing, or they'll not be up for selection.
Yeah.
So
I Thomas Frank is a big fan.
apparently are sniffing round.
Newcastle mentioned apparently that Thomas Frank wants him because they missed out obviously on Eberechi. They're looking at Kobe Manu to potentially facilitate the James Maddison loss. So I see that as Manu's best position, that interlinking 10 in a 4-2-3-1. I think he really shines in there as opposed to trying to play as a midfielder or a left or right side of 10. So I think I sent the photo in yesterday and it was the three boys sitting on the wall, Hoyland, Manu, Garnacho. How wrong did Eric Ten Hag get it?
How wrong did the fan base get it?
How wrong did we all?
That's the new Trinity, you know, and that
that's
well for the future. And three lads are going.
That's us being used to average dribble and grasping on to any hopium we can get.
Yeah.
Do you know,
it's all to not overhype under I would say average players. I would say.
Yeah, because we've been this past since 2013. It's been pretty grim. We're trying to get clutching straws, trying to get sustained success and build ourselves up, not just being a cup team, to actually challenging for Premier Leagues. And for Ollie did it for a couple of seasons, albeit City were way far ahead. And it's not happening. And we see these young players coming through and bursting on, shining, and win a cup and think, oh, this is it. These are superstars, and they're not.
Especially when they come from the academy here.
Yeah, 100%. I agree, 100%.
But the English-based fans, and everybody's aghast that even think about selling Kobe Mainoo. But I'm telling you now, he could be the biggest sale that we make this summer.
He could also be the biggest mistake that Manchester United make in recent memory. Manchester United have an awful habit. We put a lot, right, and I do this too. I'm awful guilty of judging young players on, performances and how they don't get along. Kobe Mainoo was managed by two different managers with two very, very different styles. One who's seen the future in him and one who can't. Rasmus Højlund is the same, right? So is Alejandro Garnacho. The best example that I have in recent memory of a player that we kind of let down by our influx of managers, different styles, couldn't get going along, is Ballon d'Or nominee Scott McTominay, who has come alive. I gave that boy dog's abuse when he played at Manchester United. I said he wasn't a centre midfielder. I said he wasn't good enough to play in there. And Antonio Conte has seen an attacking 10. Right? Let McTominay loose, and now he's up for Ballon d'Or. United are a graveyard at the minute for player development. So even though I see Kobe Mainoo as an average player, and that is my honest opinion, I won't be shocked if Kobe Mainoo goes to Spurs and sets the world alight once he gets out from under Manchester United. I think slapping a new training ground does absolutely nothing for me if you can't develop talent in that training ground. And United are going to have to be very careful now with how they handle things, because I think if they get Amorim wrong or Amorim fails, this is it. This is the fall off the ledge where you become a Leeds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't say that.
I'm hoping them fall that far.
I mean, they're back, scumbags, they're back up in the Prem. I just mean before you come into your Newcastle, Sunderland's, Leeds, those that used to be, the Manchester United are a different scale to that. They are in terms of resources. There's only so long you can abuse resources before it all slips away from under you. And a club with as much debt as Manchester United have, talking about new stadiums and all the rest and all these big investments, it could go under if United can't succeed in the pitch.
They need
You're going to lose a generation of fans.
support,
All the young fellas now won't be supporting Man United. Or young girls as well, of course. But they'll all be supporting the teams that are winning stuff, winning meaningful stuff. The like of Liverpool, the like of that.
Yeah. That's no discipline in the household too.
Those households that maybe aren't football fans, and then kids go to school and they get into football.
Yeah.
They're not getting into football through the influence of Manchester United anymore, which is sad. It's the cities and the Liverpools. I mean, Liverpool are sickening. Every game they play at the minute feels like a roller coaster of emotion. That seems to end up going in their favour, and that's just.
Oh no, more so. See that Newcastle game?
Out of time. Aye.
I was it.
What's that? Liverpool needs one goal to win.
The game.
12 minutes.
Yeah.
Liverpool when Liverpool are drawing or need a goal, they have their average.
They add on extra minutes.
They get 6+. Always get 6+ minutes at the end of the second half, no matter what happens.
I think that's a team that everybody wants to watch. Some people used to call that Fergie time. We're the most entertaining team in the country. We're the most influential team in the country. You almost didn't want to see Manchester United fail, because on a European scale, it was such an attraction for English football that this historic football club was putting teams to the sword all across Europe under the fantastic reign of Alex Ferguson. We've lost that now. It belongs to Liverpool. Liverpool are the success story this season. They're unfortunately held up by a tragedy that everybody wants to see them do well because of, right? But it happens. They're riding that wave of just being the biggest club in Europe. And yeah, I can't say they don't deserve it. They've built really, really well. Manchester United, on the other, we're on the downward trajectory and can't get out of it. Ruben Amorim's meant to be the catalyst for up. So what do we see in the next few games? This is where we'll finish up. Grimsby tonight. It can't go wrong against Grimsby. Has the team sheet come out yet? It's on terrestrial TV.
Not yet.
Grim against Grimsby.
Well, do you just want a not so positive fun fact?
No.
The last time United played in round 2 of the Carabao Cup, Who do we play? We beat 4-0.
Not big.
Oh, was it
Van Hal was the manager, I think.
I was thinking of the Hag one where he lost against someone stupid. No, go
MK
ahead.
Dons.
Oh, I do remember that.
Remember that?
I do remember that. That was a dark day. We were
Yeah.
embarrassed.
Grimsby.
Manu starts.
Who's the team sheet at?
Sesko
Right.
starts.
Yeah.
Onana starts. It is Onana. The
No.
defence is Fredrickson, Maguire, and Aidan Heaven. The fullbacks are Diogo Dalot and Dorgu. The midfield is Ugarte and Manu. And up front is going to be Ahmed Diallo, Sesko, and Mateus Cunha.
Very good. And he still has Farpar on the bench.
He has Mbeumo, Xerxes, and Mount to come on up front. Casemiro, Fernandez to use the midfielders. Diego Leon to cover the fullback positions. And Matthias de Ligt to cover the centre-back positions. Heaton and Bayander are on the bench. Andrew Onana starts.
Good stuff.
Confirmation in my head that Andrew Onana is not going anywhere.
Redemption starts now.
Nobody wants him.
So there we go. What's your predictions off the back of that? Give me a scoreline.
Me?
Yeah.
3-1.
To Grimsby.
Ooh. To us. Oh, 1-3.
Okay. Kieran.
4-0 United.
I think 3-4 United. I think they'll blitz Grimsby. I think in these sorts of games, I have total faith in Ruben Amorim. That system's going to work. It'll be too much for other teams, but when against the physicality of the Premier League, you need to score goals. Kieran nailed it earlier. You either score no chance in the first 20 minutes, or you feed into the other team's confidence and they can do something against you.
Yeah. And that's, you know, it's night and day. Like a few, you know, it's like, I know it didn't go well, but just devil's advocate, as you say, Bruno never misses a penalty. He slots it away. Bit more buzz, bit more confidence. You know, Cunha taps at the other side. We're a couple of goals ahead. You know, for all the talk that Fulham had of getting through and they knew what to do in our system, they got through once, and it was from Bruno, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, looking back, who left his runner in behind Smith Rowe for it to happen.
That was Dallo.
Diogo Dalot.
Wasn't it?
Was Dallo, sorry.
Gave the ball
Right.
across, tried to do his big long
Yeah.
one.
Sorry. My bad.
Completely.
He was Portuguese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were
The
close.
yoke that is.
Yeah. Ever consistent Diogo Dallo
I bet he scores tonight. Just to put the figures up.
against Grimsby.
I have Ahmed Diallo over him any day, Mum. I know you don't like Diallo playing there, but I would take
No,
Diallo.
I don't. It's not that I don't like Diallo playing there. I think Diallo is a bit like Trent Alexander-Arnold, without the Trent Alexander-Arnold crosses, but he's not great at defending. And
He's also really poor.
you're missing a bit of his magic if you don't play him as a 10. But we are coming down with 10s at the minute.
Oh yeah, Diallo's playing.
Have you seen apparently Madrid want to send him back?
Who?
Trent?
Why?
I've seen just a few. No, it could be under rumours and bullshit, but
What was that game? He's made some blatant mistakes.
he's not.
Does that?
He's not adapting well. Apparently, they're looking rid of him, and
He's so overhyped. So
Yeah.
overhyped. He makes mistakes all the time. And there's no real defined position for him. He's either a half decent centre midfielder, half decent old midfielder, or half decent right back. And he plays as a right back. The only beauty of Trent Alexander-Arnold is he can occupy three positions on the pitch in open play in the game. He can play up and right wing, he can play right back, and he can play a centre defensive midfielder. But he's not convincing as a defender. And he's not
On the
good
front
enough to
foot.
play as a defender. And I thought that they were going to try some weird progression route where he became a bit Gareth Bale-esque, where he came from left back and then transitioned into the left wing role. But overrated massively.
yeah, overhyped.
So
But
give me your predictions for the Burnley game until we finish up, guys.
I'm going for
I'm
a
gonna go
3-0
one
win. 3-0 win.
I'm being honest, I think it's 1-8.
2-1.
The
Good
famous
old
2-1.
Classic.
Because of it all.
2-1.
Right, folks, well, we will be back next week to talk about the Burnley game and the Grimsby game, hopefully in a much more positive note than this sombre one.
God.
We'll see if Mum wins her £5 or they lose another £5 to the logical approach. But yes,
I can still win £5.
technically, I mean.
Technically, I'm not out yet.
Technically, fair enough. Right, folks, see you later.
Bye,
Right, folks.
everyone.